This is the actual collider of the balcony that the feet are reacting to. So even if I grab the character and just push it down, the feet always stay on the surface of the balcony, which was another way I adjusted the animation to work well with the scene. Hi guys, my name is Borodante, and today I want to tell you guys about the process we went through with Nadiia while working on this MTV commercial for International Women's Day. Nadiia was working on the whole concept. She was like the art director as well as the sculptor, the designer of everything. It's her colors, her shapes, her materials and settings for all the visuals, and I was just making the whole thing move. This involved a lot of really interesting animation approaches, rigid body animations, complex particle system animations, and motion capture for the main character, this woman hero. This right here is something that's hard to see in a very quick edit, but this is like the ancient statue showing the classical representation of a woman, kind of like the old stereotypes or whatever. And our woman hero is riding a bull cart to destroy that stereotype. And then the bits of it sort of get reborn into this flower with a special seed, and then our hero goes on top of the mountain and shoots the seed into the sky to give birth to MTV logo, apparently. But yeah, that's how things went down in the final product. It involved a lot of versions. Right here you guys can see this is a 15 seconds 16:9 30 FPS version with the actual MTV logo. All these four things are a subject to change in different versions of the video, so we ended up creating up to 20 different versions. There was a vertical version for the short content. The MTV logo also has a version with a W, so it's a WTV like for women. 30 FPS, sometimes it's 25 FPS, and there was also not 15 seconds, but I think that there was two versions in terms of the length. Now I have to interrupt the program to tell you guys about this video sponsor, Wingfox. They have this new course called Character Sculpting with Blender, Create a Stylized Warrior. In this course, a very talented and experienced 3D artist, Jose Arli Moreno, will share with you all of the core knowledge about how to work with sculpting in Blender, starting with the sculpting fundamentals, and then continuing with working on the actual warrior character sculpt. And you end up with a very polished and production-ready sculpt of the character that is posed using the basic rigging. What I really like about this course is that Jose is using a lot of his specific knowledge about the sculpting tools in Blender. Some of the stuff I actually didn't know, like that there was a lot of evolution of the sculpting brushes since 2.9 to now, and the way you can use it to your benefit. And of course, this very clean and awesome looking result I think will be interesting to many of you. So yeah, if any of you guys are interested, the link to the course is in the video description. It's $39 right now with a huge discount because the course is only starting to come out. But with these $39, you get access to the full course when it will actually come out. And also, especially for you guys, there's a code in the video description that will give you an extra discount. Thank you, Wingfox, for supporting this channel. Now let's go back to the video. So yeah, let's start off with the actual character. This is the main hero Nadiia prepared. Then we real quick remeshed the whole thing using Quad Remesher plugin that you can see right here. Then we used AutoRig Pro to quickly rig the character so everything is live and moving whatever. And then we used AutoRig Pro's retargeting system that you can see right here. This is whole remap. So that's how we applied the animations captured with the Rococo motion capture suit. So Nadiia was actually wearing the suit and animating all kinds of poses and everything. And we ended up importing it here. This was the very first real world experiment that we had with the suit. So a lot of things have yet to be answered in terms of how to get the good result out of the suit. Seems like it improved the results when I was raising the router higher. But yeah, like overall, we got what we really needed, which was the realistic human micro movements. like if you have some kind of twisted legs or misplaced arms, right here they're supposed to be like grabbing the stem of the flower, and instead they're crossed like this. This is easy to fix using the nonlinear animation things, where you just bake things into one clip and then you add clean and simple keys on top, just moving the hands into proper position, and then they keep moving with this adjustment. And that way we get to keep all these realistic movements of the actual human balancing and having little twitches and whatever that real human has. So all of this looks very live and real. And again, yeah, this kind of feet a lot of the times had this issue that they were twisted in the wrong way. So that was easy to fix with NLA, as I show you guys later in the actual scene. But yeah, overall, this is how we animated stuff. And here's we have just different animations going on of taking the flower, standing up. Standing up was the hardest thing possible to do, because really the suit, I don't think it's really made for, you know, doing a lot of flipping or whatever, like laying down and then standing up, or being under the chair and then climbing on top of the chair, which is something Nadiia was actually doing while wearing the suit, despite all of my warnings that that's probably a bad idea. So I think if you have some kind of complex climbing out and on top of something kind of thing, it's best to animate two separate parts of just kind of climbing out while you're actually standing up, and then kind of standing up on the actual top of the thing while also just standing up, and then just sort of merging together two animations with proper positioning to kind of simulate the complex movement like that. But yeah, overall, the suit understands the elevation right now, because this is the second version of the Rococo Smart Suit Pro. So yeah, when Nadiia was standing on the chair, it actually registered that elevation, which was really cool. And yeah, this is the actual first scene where the car is driving down. So this car is actually simulated with this physically based rig of the car using Rigid Body World. Again, if any of you guys are interested, here's the video about gaming in Blender, where I ended up actually driving a car in real time in a Carmageddon style gaming right inside of the Blender's viewport. It was really fun. So I go through the whole creation of this kind of physically based moving car. And yeah, the particles were also an interesting experiment. So right here you guys can see two different particle systems. The first one was the static one that just exists from the frame 0 right here. So it starts at frame 0 and then its lifetime is exactly 57 frames. Because at frame 58, they stop existing and automatically just disappear, which is what we needed, because then we replace them with this dynamic particle system that has actual physics turned on and initial velocities and everything. And this particle system starts at frame 57. And that's how we simply replace the static particles with the moving ones, while they actually are in the same position, which is good for the animation. And then the dynamic particle system has this initial speed in normal a little bit, but then 1 meter per second in y-axis. And we can see y-axis is pointing this direction. That's why the particles are falling forward like this. But then, of course, they would just fall with the gravity down all over the place, which is what they did initially. And I had to fix the problem that Nadiia said that the whole land at this green surface is actually like a face. That's why the camera is looking from the top. And you guys can see there's actual morphing going on right here, where like these eyelashes show up to catch some of the particles, and it's like glowing eyes, and this is sort of a mouth. And we needed things to fall into this final mouth thing, like to be hidden inside of this balcony where they sort of bake into this future flower. And so I used a bunch of forces. First of all, for the mouth, there's this simple force that's called force. And it has negative value, which means it kind of works like black hole, so it's sucking all the particles into itself. So you guys can see, if we look here inside of the balcony, they're kind of all reaching into this one point in space and stay there. That's what we kind of needed to do here. And another really cool thing that I used for the first time was this force, which is called curve guide. a very unusual thing. I barely understand the way it works because it has like a certain radius of influence, but also it's all about like at which time do particles start following this curve and at which time they reach the end of the curve and start falling in a free fashion with gravity again. So you guys can see right now at the beginning of the fall, this group inside of this exact radius starts following this curve like some kind of animal made of these particles. It's a really cool thing. So it was traveling exactly along this curve while hitting all the obstacles on this landscape, which looks, I don't know, to me it still looks so cool how this particle system is acting in here. And yeah, at the end it's falling right here, and this black hole force is collecting all the particles to stay inside of the balcony. So that's how I ended up animating this. And yeah, the balcony is animated as some kind of like array, as far as I remember. Maybe not, maybe I actually ended up using, yeah, simple deform. It's just bending like this, a bend. So yeah, that's how things went down here. Then we had more motion capture, and this is like the most complicated scene in terms of making those captured animations from the suit actually work. This is the part where Nadiia was trying to utilize the chair, but it really wasn't a good idea, so I had to chop down the animations into smaller bits and merge them together using nonlinear animation. And right now I'm actually using these instances of collections. This is not the actual collection, it doesn't have the real character inside. You create these instances, like you can right click on any collection and create instance to the scene, and it will create this kind of stuff. And then the original collection you just hide away, and then you animate the visibility of this instance. That's the only way to animate the visibility of the whole collection, to create its instance and then animate it, because this right here you can't put a key on it. So that's why the character right here is hard to select, because we need to actually show the original collection. And now if I click on the rig, this is this stack of different NLA clips that have different adjustments and stuff like that to make sure the movement actually makes sense. And in the second part as well, if we also make the flower visible, this one, it was quite a challenge to make it bounce properly and actually get, you know, taken out of the balcony here of that cave properly and then bounce around like that in the final shot. It's looking pretty cool and dynamic, very interesting. And all these little steps are following the actual surface of the balcony. I think I used some kind of collision simplified surface. Oh, right here. So this is the collider. This is the shape that's supposed to it's actually shrink wrapping on the faces in real time. So again, this is the actual collider of the balcony that the feet are reacting to. So even if I grab the character and just push it down, the feet always stay on the surface of the balcony, which was another way I adjusted the animation to work well with the scene. And another interesting thing is, of course, the flower. It's actually like its stem is having an armature modifier. So there are these three bones right here that are actually deforming the stem. But these bones are parented to these three cylinders, which are the rigid bodies, which use the rigid body constraint called generic spring, which will make them bounce around while being connected to each other like that. Yeah, and of course these leaves are also attached with that spring constraint to these cylinders. So everything is like a complex spring-loaded physical model, and it is just involving also some of the bones that follow the rigid bodies, and then they bend the object. That's how you get the look of the actual soft bending stem, even though rigid bodies are not supposed to be able to do that. So yeah, this was a lot of fun. Then in the next scene, we're again back to the horizontal version of the video right here. But yeah, here the character is just going forward, like our hero is dragging the flower to the top of the mountain. And actually it's a lot slower than it was in the final video because we simply sped up the whole animation of this video like this to be able to fit the movement into like a second and a half animation time that we had for this shot in the final video. So we ended up speeding it up a lot, just like that. And yeah, the rest is pretty much the same. It's all motion capture with NLA adjustments. And yeah, Nadiia after this goes back and tries again if we just keep looking at the motion capture data we had, which looks kind of funny. And finally, the logo scene. You guys can see right here, this is the WTV version. This is what it looks like. There were specific requirements of how the logo should be positioned in the frame and how it should like bounce like this with this particular pace. Sideways when it's W and vertically when it's the actual MTV logo. So we made sure it's in the proper position, and Nadiia was using a bunch of shape keys to animate this. Again, this is an instance of the collection. Right here is the actual real deal, and right here we can see all these shape keys, and this is how Nadiia animated this shape, whatever is going on there, I don't know. But yeah, overall you see how right now the ball is still visible, and then when things explode the petals would also show up at the wrong time. So right now we can see everything is present at all times. So I had to create these collection instances right here to be able to animate the visibility. So till this point, this is a solid single object of the tip of the flower. And then at a certain point, it just completely disappears. This was one object. And right here, it's a set of separate objects that are animated by rigid body physics. And the way they explode into separate positions, I didn't even have to do anything. I just made sure they kind of overlap each other just a little bit. And when the physics start simulating, the first thing they do is they just shoot all the objects that overlap each other into opposite directions, and that's how I got this explosion movement. And yeah, the character in this particular scene was animated fully by hand because we needed like this clean, strong movement of the hero shooting the thing, so I made sure I pushed the stretching and reaching of the character as much as possible. I think I'm even using a little bit of the soft IK in here, like these legs, they actually stretch. Yeah, that's how I went with it, like a little bit of the cartoonish exaggeration. So yeah, it was pretty dope. The actual physics of the flower weren't even used in here, like the stem wasn't simulated. I just animated this bone a little bit at the end, but overall it's just a perfect rigid stick. And yeah, Nadiia was using extensively a lot of shape keys animation, morphing all these different shapes into the actual stairs that the hero was climbing up. And my job was just to make sure the feet actually stay on the surface here, so I spent some time doing that. Not sure if it was necessary even, because right now we're out of the shot. But for the vertical version, maybe it was in the shot, I don't know. But yeah, anyway, this is the way things went down. This is what was involved, all the tech that was involved in the project. A lot of automated stuff. Blender is incredible. I keep falling more and more in love with this piece of software lately. Just seeing how much I can put into one project without ever leaving one app is so cool. And of course, with Rococo's motion capture suit, it was really awesome to liven up the whole animation quite a lot. It was very exciting. And of course, AutoRig Pro plugin and Quad Remesher really made things very fast and very doable for a small team of two. So yeah, the whole thing I think is very awesome, and like it's even kind of inspiring for myself to see how we can really, with more experience, we can progress further and further into this. So yeah, I hope to you guys as well it was somewhat interesting and inspiring. Let me know if you have any more questions. Maybe I missed some details that you wanted to know about. But for now, this is it. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! There I was thinking that I will never get to really have a good use of soft IK, and immediately the first real work project and I'm using it. This is such a cool thing.